everybody. So, we're going to do a little video on spirits and why I think spirits aren't necessarily always evil and how, kind of as a culture, we always expect them to be evil. Which I'll get into that in a minute. I do have some notes prepared here, just an FYI, and now I've lost them. So, okay, there we go. Okay, so, as a general rule, you know, like when you're walking down the street and you feel like someone or something is following you, watching you, just staring into your back, and then you turn around and you look and there's nothing there. Same situation when you're home alone, looking into all the dark corners, like expecting to see something. Something standing there, something staring back at you. Yeah, I get that a lot because I'm home a lot by myself, and it's not necessarily a good feeling because you're always like looking over your shoulder thinking something's gonna pop out at you and freak you out. And then also the same thing that's always funny is like, why did I trick myself into thinking that there's a murderer behind me when you're downstairs in the dark, and then you scare yourself. Anyway, so a lot of times I don't think those feelings are unjust, and I think a lot of the times people are actually feeling stuff that's there, just in a more vague way. I think these are spirits, just beings in general, that are kind of there, and aren't necessarily evil. They probably don't want to hurt you. More than likely, they're only there to observe, to watch you, which can be kind of creepy in its own way, but sometimes picking up spirit energy isn't cohesive enough to sense good or evil from one gut feeling. So, in that sense, you can walk into a room and feel that something's there, and then after many, many more experiences of the same thing, then you can finally decide, okay, this is either benevolent or not, and in that way can kind of justify whether or not you need to continue with the binding and banishing, or, you know, maybe it's not such a bad thing. And with that, in my experience, these wandering spirits tread very lightly. I wouldn't say that they need to be banished. Unless, like, it's doing something specifically to you, then by all means, go ahead. Just depend on your own judgment for that. Bind and banish shit that is overstepping boundaries and coming into the shower with you and following you around and keeping you awake at night. Yeah, get rid of that. But if it's something that's, you know, just following you around, just looking, you know, not misplacing your stuff, not throwing shit around, not breaking things, if it's just kind of there, then it probably doesn't have any reason to bother you. And, you know, in the same sense, don't bother it. It's just sitting there chilling out. They're just hanging out and they don't ask for anything, and you don't necessarily need to do anything other than just let them hang out. And usually houses, all houses, come with a few resident spirits. They coexist with the house whether you're there or not. So treat them nicely and it's likely they will do the same. So, a little bit of a backstory on that. As I told you, I used to live in a really, really old house. And a lot of those things were not nice, but there was so much stuff in that house. Like, every room had 3 or 4 different things in a specific room. And, like, different corners would have weird shit, and then you'd move over to this side of the room, and it's a completely different feeling. And almost every building I've been in, really, pick up on stuff all the time. We went to an antique store the other day, and first of all, the stairs were really steep. Like, it was weird. They were only, like, that wide and really, really steep. So it was like you're standing on your tiptoes trying to come up to the door. But I went in there and, like, first thing I just was, like, smothered, like, inundated with all of this stuff. And, you know, I usually get that at an antique store. It's to be expected. There's just so much residual energy on the stuff that's in there. And it all just comes at you at once. Which I'm fine with. I'm used to. But, yeah, that happened. And we did spend a little bit of time in there. They had so much neat, like, crystals and stuff. Native rocks and crystals. And I don't think they had arrowheads, but they had a lot of other stuff. And I wanted to buy some so bad. They even had a Tibetan singing bowl. But, okay, I'm getting off topic. Anyhow, that will happen. And it's kind of like what I like to call a bit of... you know, usually when you pick up an object or somebody hands you an object and you can kind of feel stuff off of it, it doesn't have to be handed to you necessarily. Like I say, you walk into a room and you feel certain things. And a lot of times I can't pin it down, I just feel something. And like I say, that's what will take a couple different tries for you. If you walk into a room and you feel there's something in here, then you come back and back and back and you kind of feel how it reacts to you. And then you can decide from there if it is, you know, just hanging out or if it's actually there to, you know, hide your keys and break your glasses. And there can be many different types in one single house. So I would be very specific when binding and banishing just because, you know, you don't want to piss off the good ones, basically. So that is what I have to tell you today for that situation / subject. And the next video I think I'm going to do is a tag video, and it might actually be a long video, so I think there's 24 questions. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't read it recently, but a lot of them are really in-depth questions, so it'll probably be a bit longer of a video. Today, though, I just wanted to touch on that subject, get that out of the way, because it's been something I've been chewing on for a couple days now. So, everybody have a wonderful night, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!